On August the 31st, 2005, a day out for the residents of the Central Manor Home for adults ended in tragedy after 45-year-old Barbara Brady was flung from a ride known as the Top Scan. This was the park's second fatality in a few days, which prompted a full-scale investigation into what caused the accident. What they found did not look good for the park, resulting in massive changes throughout the theme park community. But what exactly happened that day? Let's talk about it. This is the infamous Top Scan disaster, the death of Barbara Brady. There really isn't much information available about Barbara Brady, but we do know that she had mental handicaps and was living in an assisted living community called the Central Manor Home for adults in Far Rockaway, Queens. One unnamed counsellor said, "She was a nice woman, she used to tell jokes in therapy sessions." That day, her and 30 other members of the community home visited Adventureland in New York as part of a counselling program. Adventureland is an amusement park located in Farmingdale, Long Island, and it was established in 1962. The park has a long-standing history as a popular destination in the region, catering to both local residents and visitors from the surrounding area. Back in 2003, Adventureland debuted the Top Scan, which would go on to be one of their most popular rides. The Top Scan was first introduced in 1996 and was made by the ride manufacturing company Mondial. Mondial Rides is a Dutch company known for designing and manufacturing amusement rides, and they were established in 1979 and based in the Netherlands. Since their launch, Mondial Rides has become a prominent name in the amusement park industry, creating various types of rides for theme parks and fairs worldwide. They are known for their extreme and unique ride designs, and the Top Scan was no different, and it was brought to Adventureland in 2003. The attraction features 6 freely rotating gondolas, each accommodating 5 passengers. The ride was equipped with Mondial's standard triple lock harness that went over the shoulder. Once the ride starts, the main support lifts slightly off the ground, ensuring safety by preventing any contact during operation. The ride then spins in reverse, occasionally changing to a forward spin, whilst the main arm rotates, causing the gondolas to tilt and flip upside down freely. As stated on the Mondial website, the gondolas are designed to rotate freely using centrifugal force. As the rider's legs are free, the sensation of flying and performing loops is enhanced. During its short time at Adventureland Park, the Top Scan became one of the most popular rides and always had massive queues of excited patrons eager to ride. A day before the incident on August 30th, 2005, an 18-year-old park employee was killed after being struck by the Ladybug coaster whilst performing maintenance. Stephen Gary, the North Babylon teenager, was working at the park over summer and was the ride operator for the Ladybug coaster. A fellow employee witnessed the accident, seeing Stephen leaning over the elevated track when he was hit, leaving him pinned under the car and dangling 2 feet off the ground. Adventureland staff quickly hoisted the car off him, and he was taken to Nassau University Medical Center. Here, he was pronounced dead at 5:30 a.m. due to crushing injuries and blunt force trauma. Due to this, staff were on high alert and there was an uneasy feeling around the park that day. Nevertheless, the park was up and running as normal, and there was a massive line for the Top Scan. In that line was 45-year-old Barbara Brady and her friend. They finally made it to the front, and she was put into her seat and waited for the ride to go. The ride started up and everything seemed to be going okay. The ride spun around multiple times, seemingly without issue. However, a few seconds in, Barbara was flung from the ride. She was thrown with such force that she flew over a 20-foot wall before landing on a car's windscreen in the car park, which was 15 feet away from the ride. Eyewitness Josh Lieutenant said, "The ride was in motion, and she went straight up. She came straight out in mid-air. The ride operator hit the emergency stop button as soon as he saw the incident unfold and ran to get help. Apparently he was manic, screaming, 'She might be dead.' According to reports, at one point she was at least 66 feet high in the air. Members of the public as well as park staff ran to Barbara, who lay unconscious in the park, and they proceeded to give her CPR. They rang emergency services who arrived promptly and transported Barbara to the Middle Island Hospital Medical Center. Sadly, not long after arriving in the hospital, she was pronounced dead. The ride was immediately closed down, whilst an investigation was launched. After the 2 unrelated deaths in a few days, the park owner Tony Gentile released a statement saying, "We're all beside ourselves. We've had a phenomenal safety record in all our years, and we take such pride in that. We've had scraped knees and chipped teeth before, but nothing ever like this. We're all just in shock." He went on to mention how he and his family personally travel the world, testing and evaluating new rides. They found the Top Scan in Germany, and it had a flawless safety record in parks around the world. He also noted that they've owned the ride for 5 or 6 years, during which it has been enjoyed by over 100,000 visitors, but I found that this wasn't the case. A month prior to the incident, Kevin Quillen was at the park celebrating his daughter's birthday when he boarded the Top Scan. He claimed that almost straight away he knew something was wrong, and the over-shoulder safety restraint was too loose. He said, "I flagged down the girl in the operator's booth and showed her how my harness was moving up and down, and nobody else's was. She told me, 'Oh no, we got a green light, it's okay,' and the ride began." He had to wrap his arms under his wife's harness as the ride threw him around. He managed to hold on, and after the ride was done, he complained to the park. This led to the Top Scan being closed temporarily, but an investigation found nothing was wrong, and it was reopened. The investigators released a statement saying it's a complex ride and were under the process of determining whether there was a mechanical failure or any other kind of failure. They also mentioned that Barbara was a larger lady weighing over 250 pounds, but the ride had no weight limit, so they doubted that it had anything to do with it. On the ride, once restraints are in place, a green light is signalled on the control board. This would indicate to the ride operator that all restraints are in properly. The ride has a mechanism that prevents the ride from starting unless every harness is locked, so the ride operator didn't do anything wrong. The investigation that ensued discovered that the ride had passed all safety inspections and was functioning according to the manufacturer's specifications. However, it also uncovered that the safety harness had failed and had a known history of issues. They determined that when Barbara was riding, the safety harness flew up, which led her to being flung out of the ride. They found that the park did not adequately maintain or inspect the safety restraint. Following this, the park closed down all of their extreme rides for safety inspections and introduced new safety measures, such as increasing the frequency of inspections and providing more comprehensive training for ride operators. The park fully accepted responsibility for their mistake and provided compensation to the victims' family for their loss. This settlement was undisclosed to the public. The tragedy prompted a renewed emphasis on regulations and inspections around the world, and many parks updated their safety regulations due to this incident. Following this, the ride was removed from the park, although many of the same version are still operating at other parks without major incident, but have since added an extra seatbelt. I hope that the victim's family are doing better today, and may Barbara rest in peace. As always, this is not an AI channel, I do everything myself, and if you appreciate my work, subscribe, and if you want to go the extra step to support the channel, maybe consider becoming a member. Although this incident should have obviously never happened, I am glad that the park took full responsibility and updated their safety regulations thoroughly after the incident, which many parks do not. Let me know what you think of this case in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.